It still says you're live.
Well, what I just did was I ended that stream
Okay.
and just started a new stream. So I'm going to put the link. Um, and then I'll just do it live. I don't know. That's the weirdest thing in
Fuck
the
it, we
world.
do it live?
Yeah, I'm just going to do it live. Put this on ProLib show. Sorry, guys. We had a whole thing. We had intro music. We had everything was fine. Yeah, and now I don't know. This one's working. I don't. I
Okay.
have no idea. I couldn't tell you why that one stopped working and this one is.
It's wild, but it's
I
the
don't
tech
know.
gremlins.
I just don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Hi everybody. Welcome to the show. And now I have to figure out which one. Okay, I think this is the one that's not working now. And see, now I have two streams called the exact same thing, and I have to figure out which one is the one that I need to delete. I think it's this one.
But
Sorry
for
about that,
whatever
guys. We
reason,
have no idea why the other one didn't work. There's no reason that it should have broken, but it broke. So let me delete that one. Delete forever. There we go. And then I gotta put the and see this is why we do like intro music. Here we can just play the intro music while I do. This is
yes.
what like I'm gonna play. Don't worry, I'll play it. Okay. So usually while the intro music is playing, what I'm doing is like sharing it and stuff, right? So I'm gonna do that now, live on Bluesky. I'm just gonna stream. We are live. Join me and at Kitty Atheist yes, for the ProLib show. Rip Twitter. Mass Exodus to Bluesky. And normally there'd be like graphics and stuff too, but just pretend that you're seeing them because we're doing all of this live. So there we go. Posted. And now that that's posted, then I would come and turn off the turn and be like, "Hi, Kitty. How are you doing tonight? And welcome everybody." But we had
Yeah,
to do it
it,
live
it
instead.
worked so well,
It did.
except
It
nobody
did.
got to see it.
This is the first as soon as I opened the thing, this is the first message I saw,
I
and it
mean, I
encapsulates
agree.
everything so perfectly. Thank you, Porpoise, for being
Yeah.
you and being wonderful. Um, Kitty, the last time we saw you, on the last episode of the ProLib show,
You mean before we ended up staying up till almost 5 in the morning?
it was Wednesday. It was the Wednesday after the election, and you weren't doing well. And I just want to check in with you. How are you?
Exhausted. Like emotionally, mentally, physically. It's been a very draining week. But one thing I will say that gives me a little bit of comfort, other than the fact that fasci regimes always implode,
Mm-hmm.
is the fact that this has galvanized a lot of people to seek community and get in touch and make support groups, and that is comforting, seeing people that are going to be impacted by what's coming down the pipeline
Right.
really like reach out to each other, get together, like that helps. Doesn't fix it, but it helps.
Yeah, and I mean, what we're talking about tonight is hope, but we're getting to the hope. Um, what we've seen was I almost blue skied this. We don't have a replacement for tweeted, so we're still using posted. I almost skied this earlier. I don't know. Instead of doom scrolling on Twitter, I'm now boom scrolling on Blue Sky, or I'm sorry, bloom scrolling, not boom scroll. You know, I just wasn't sure the joke would land, and so I didn't. I guess I'll do it now.
Okay, you almost made me shoot coconut Red Bull out my nose. Like, that was not nice. That was not
Instead of
friendly.
doom scrolling on Twitter, I'm finding myself Bloom scrolling. Oops, I can spell scrolling. Scrolling. Here. See? Okay, it's pretty good. Um,
The dad jokes, though, for
yeah.
real.
So we're going to talk a lot tonight about what Twitter was. We're going to talk about kind of the future where things are headed. Um, there's an overwhelming feeling of
Yeah, my camera's been acting up all night.
yeah. Well, spooky. It's like it's like this. It's like it's like when you're in a really dark room, and I know this from experience because my power was out for almost a week after Helene. When you're in a really dark room and there's like the tiniest bit of light, it looks a lot brighter. And yeah, I saw the skeet thing, Antjer. We're gonna get to that too. I have so much to say. I have so much to say about Twitter and Bluesky. We're doing a whole thing. And I think last week was the lights were turned out, off, black. Everything was black. Everything was pitch black last week. Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And then it was like, all right, are we just going to live in darkness? Or are we ourselves going to try to turn some lights on, right? And I think a large part of there's a bunch of reasons why people moved away from Twitter. We're going to cover all of them. But I think reason number one is the hope that Bluesky provides. And I don't say that just because I'm like a fanboy. Like the people on Bluesky are saying this too, and I've seen it kind of all day. People are like, "Oh wow," I'm sure. You know, I forgot that social media was like this. I forgot Bluesky today is like Twitter was back in 2011, 2012, where like it's somebody's like, oh, you know, politics. And then the next thing is like, hey, here's a picture I took of the Andromeda galaxy. And then the next person is like, you know, hey, here's a picture of my cat. Like it's the Wild West of social media. And what's great about that is that it has reminded us that, hi Titan, that social media without the chains and shackles of oligarchs is something really, really special, because it provides avenues for all of us to just communicate with each other. The algorithm that exists on Bluesky is just a chronological algorithm, and then there's another algorithm that's just a popular one. Like, hey, this post is really popular. It doesn't say, hey, this post is really popular, and the advertisers like it. And it doesn't say this post is really popular. Oh, but it's got the word cis in it. This is really popular, but it, you know, like there's no qualifiers. There's a couple of qualifiers that we'll talk about, but for the most part, for 85, 90%, it's just an algorithm that's like, oh, hey, a lot of people liked this post, so I'm going to put this in a trending tab. A lot of people, you know, reposted it, commented on it, without, you know, the trappings of, will advertisers like this? Does this help advertisers? I guess this is where we'll start. So I've talked about this many times. I made money off Twitter, not very much. Like last month, I made $13. Like I think the most I ever made in 1 month was like $30. Like I don't bring this up to brag, is my point. But what would happen occasionally is I would make a post, and immediately, as soon as I made the post, I would get a comment. And that comment would be an ad of some kind. It would be, you know, hey, buy this shirt. And the shirt was somehow relevant to what I said. Or, you know, here's this cheap product on Temu that adds cup holders to your baby stroller that are collapsible, like whatever it was, but it was instantaneous and it wasn't all the time. So there's an algorithm that said, hey, when this person posts at this time and on this topic, they tend to get this many comments, this many impressions are created from this person posting at this time and this topic. So I'm going to sell that time to you for this much money because I can predict that people are going to click on the ad that you're going to that will go in the comments, or either the comments of the post or around the timeline of the post, either an ad posted just before or just after what I said, right? And I'm not unique to me. That's how the algorithms work on all of the web, on Threads and Instagram and Facebook and all the different places. That's how they work. The idea behind the algorithms is that they know that they can get a certain amount of impressions and a certain amount of clicks when you post at this time about this topic. They can sell that to an advertiser to buy that place of prominence right alongside it so that people will click on their ad and hopefully go buy their product or service. That's just how all the algorithms work. And Bluesky doesn't have that because they don't have advertising. They have an algorithm. In fact, they have over 50,000 feeds with different algorithms. You can go build your own. We're going to talk about that. But they're not advertising based. They're not monetary based. It's like, oh, hey, I want to build a group of scientists. Like there's lists now that you can just go subscribe to. That's just a bunch of scientists talking about science stuff, or historians, or what, like anything you can think. There's over 50,000 of them. 50,000. There's so many. It would take you years to even like go through all of them and see what you liked. I mean, think about trying to figure out which of these that you like the most. So I don't even. Porpoise could probably calculate how much time that would take, but I'm not capable. But what this has provided is this glimmer of hope. And I think the move from Twitter to Bluesky is more about that hope than Bluesky itself. Even though Bluesky is great, not saying it isn't. I think that hope part of it plays in a lot.
Also, nobody wants to be surrounded by Kool-Aid drinking cultists or
Well,
bots or
yeah.
neo-Nazis.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that all over the platform today. People are like, oh, no one's... I forget who it was. It was like, I think it was Jen Rubin, she's just a journalist. She's like a journalist in her 60s. And she's like, wow, I got through a whole day of social media without anyone commenting on my post, calling me a whore, or making jokes about how I'm Jewish. Like, it's just social media again. It's just people sharing things that they like. Laura Loomer was on the platform for like a couple of hours and got suspended because they actually have a trust and safety and moderation team. It was like, no, bye. And there's been this bow down from so many platforms to this idea that people should be able to say anything they want to anyone they want, justifying hate speech, in my opinion. I believe that you should be able to have whatever opinion you want to have. I do believe that. But when that opinion is hurtful to others, you can't be surprised when you get kicked out of common spaces. Because common spaces aren't for you. Yeah, Andrew, I agree. It's refreshing. That's a great word for Bluesky.
I think I worded it something along the lines of it feels like you can breathe there.
Yeah.
It's not soul crushing.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
that's kind of what Shitter had become.
Yeah, and I really agree with what Porpoise said here. Give Ethan money. I super agree with you. Absolutely, 100%. That's a really great point. Yeah, so one of the things I want to talk about tonight is I know that there's some people that are kind of still on the fence about Bluesky and what even is this website. So I want to talk about the history of Bluesky a little bit because Bluesky and Twitter are intrinsically linked. Kitty, how much do you know about the history of Bluesky?
Well, considering it was founded by the same person that founded Twitter originally,
Correct?
I would think, they're siblings, you know.
Sort of. Um, so the idea behind Blue Sky was Jack Dorsey, who that's who you're talking about, Jack Dorsey, who's the one of the co-founders of Twitter, was like, you know what? We have created. He said this publicly. This isn't me putting his words in his mouth or anything. Those of us who are in social media have created spaces where anger, vitriol is prioritized. And we need to find a way to make social media about more than that. And how do we do that? So he created um, uh, this proof of concept team and empowered them, I guess, with the mission of how do we create this? Um, and that's why it was called Blue Sky, because there's a couple of different reasons. It's kind of it's a little bit of a joke. In finance, Blue Sky refers to things that are kind of unattainable. Uh, to me, the idea that like Bitcoin could replace the US dollar is a blue sky idea. And to a lot of people in finance, it's a blue sky idea. It's not just me. It's a blue sky idea, right? It's okay, it's whatever. Blue sky also refers to traders and investors who aren't knowledgeable enough to do the things they're trying to do while they believe that they are knowledgeable enough to accomplish them. And so Blue Sky is kind of a joke. You know, like Dorsey was like, okay, we're gonna create Blue Sky, and we'll make it a decentralized platform because decentralization was starting to be a big thing. April just mentioned Mastodon. Mastodon exists. It's a little bit different than Blue Sky. We're going to talk about it in a minute. But Dorsey was like, this is a Blue Sky idea. This is just a pie in the sky idea that we're going to be able to create social media that gets away from all this stuff. And one of the people who, so he put out a call for developers and said, hey, send me your white papers on this idea that I have about a decentralized platform or a decentralized social media network that also has an underpinned platform where people can build apps on top of it. And one of the papers he received was from a woman named Jay Gruber, and she impressed him so much, excuse me, that he hired her, put her in charge of the team. She's still CEO today. Her name in Chinese, I'm gonna mispronounce this. I'm so sorry. I believe you say it Leishan in Chinese. It's Laitian. I believe it's Leishan. Her first name means blue sky in Chinese. I think you muted yourself. I can unmute you.
Oh, yeah, no, I did. I just said that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't important.
And she has been in charge since. Now, Dorsey, in 2020, I think. Okay. Hi, Franklin. Hello. Okay. In 2020, he wanted to make Blue Sky a lot more NFT and crypto centric. And the Blue Sky team essentially said, we're not doing that. And Dorsey disconnected himself from the project and said, you guys go do whatever you want. They had a $13 million grant, and they were working off of that to build both Blue Sky itself and what's known as the AT protocol, the Atmosphere Protocol, which I'm going to talk about. Then Elon Musk bought Twitter. And there were a lot of people. I don't believe that Jack Dorsey does speak with a mid-Atlantic accent. No, I don't think so. He might, but I'm not sure. A lot of people thought that was going to be the end of Blue Sky when Elon bought it. Instead, Elon just kind of ignored it, and then that was kind of it. And he just didn't do anything with it, and they separated and started raising money on their own. They just went through another round of fundraising recently, and last month gained another $15 million to keep this going. Um, Porpoise, you're getting way ahead of me. Yes, but you're getting way ahead of me. You're ahead of me in the story. Just calm down. We'll get there. We're getting there. I'm getting to the board. I'm getting through the exposition so we can get to the fun stuff. And basically, Bluesky and Mastodon are the same idea implemented in very different ways. I'm not going to get super tech. I've already gotten more technical than I meant to get. So we're done with all the technical stuff, I promise. But Mastodon uses the app protocol. Or I'm sorry, not the app protocol. The oh god, I can't think of it. They use product hub, something like that. They call it the Fediverse is the moniker of it. Feda, Fedi, like Federation. I forget what the actual protocol is called. And then Bluesky built their own, which is the Atmosphere Protocol or AT Protocol. Mastodon's proof of concept works. You can be on Mastodon on a Mastodon server, and you can like stuff on threads and repost stuff on threads, and you'll see them on both because the protocols talk, right? Like it works. It works right now. You can go use it right now. Bluesky's idea is, hey, we've got this thing in beta. Bluesky is still in beta. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. And you can have, okay, I'm trying not to get super technical. If you sign up on Bluesky, or if you go log in Bluesky, at the top there's a drop down and it says social. Right now, everyone is on one server called the social server. Okay, it's .social. That's why your username is, like mine is prolibshow.bsky.social, because I'm on the social server. That's where all of my likes, posts, friends, that's where everything exists. I can make my own server. I could make prolibshow.com and offload all that data onto prolibshow.com, but it still communicates with Bluesky as if I was on the social server. In fact, if you go to The Verge, if you look at The Verge's, and there's a lot of them that are, there's just the one that pops in my head. If you look at The Verge's account, they're at theverge.com. They're not at theverge.bsky.social. They're actually at their own website because they've got their own server where everything lives and stays, but it can communicate to everyone else's stuff. One of the apps I use is called blue.deck. And if you're on desktop, you should use blue.deck. It sets up columns for your Bluesky where, like, I have a column of all of my favorites, like all my favorite posters. I have just my home column, which is just, in chronological order when people post. I've got a news section where I put like journalists and news organizations. Once football's on Bluesky, I'll have a football one. I did the same thing on Twitter. I just built the same columns that I had on Twitter. And I'm using the blue.deck app that's communicating with the social server where all of my data lives, but the blue.deck app can access it all. So I'm actually on I'm not on Bluesky's server. I'm on the blue.deck server that's communicating. So the reason this is important is because these non-centralized platforms aren't susceptible to the same kind of algorithm gaming that other things are. Bluesky could, and probably will at some point, add advertisements on the .social server. So when you're viewing stuff on the .social server, you may see advertisements in your feed. But you could set up your own server and grab all of that data and pull all of those feeds over to your own server, and you wouldn't see any of those ads because they'd just be on the .social server. This is a very simplified, simplistic way of explaining it. There's a lot here. The AT protocol is a whole programming infrastructure to build all kinds of anything that you can think of. You could build games. You could build financial, stock programs. Like trading programs. You build anything on the AT protocol. It's just a programming language. It's not really a programming language. It's like an infrastructure of protocols and APIs that talk to one another that you can put programming in between of and grab data. That's a better way of describing it. But because it's decentralized, all of these things can exist and talk to each other freely. Twitter, if you remember, one of the first things that Elon did was shut down all of the APIs. He closed all of the doors. In fact, I have a quote that I'm going to read to you. I put this in the Discord, but I'm going to read it for the podcast. This is from the blog just the other day, the Bluesky blog, this, October's blog. It's the very last line of the blog, and I love the way this is worded. Traditional social media companies have enclosed the online commons, locked down their APIs to shut out independent developers, and deployed black box algorithms that leave us guessing. This era of old social is over. At Bluesky, we're returning choice and power to you. And it's important, getting back to where we started, it's important because you have a bunch of fascists in the US trying to end the exact kind of things that Bluesky represents. So it's a very long-winded way of connecting those two, but I try to get through it as simply and as quickly as possible. And I'll stop talking now because it's Kitty's turn.
Oh, no, it's fine, but it's nice not having the same kind of algorithms because it has become very apparent that the algorithms have been gamed on not just Twitter, but it is like the worst of them. And it makes it almost impossible to find things that you're actually looking for. And it's like all the crap just, floats to the top. And I mean, I don't need another ad for boner pills. I really don't. I don't care about like some Cheech and Chong branded gummies. Like again, I just want to see the content and not have a bazillion, bots just like jumping in and arguing with each other over like the most banal things. And it's exhausting being over there. That's why I was off of it for a long time.
And, the other thing to keep in mind is that there's the decentralization that Mastodon has is fine. I don't mean to crap on it. If it came off that way, I didn't mean to. Any decentralization I'm a fan of. What I like about what Bluesky has done is that they've set it up so that they're incapable of gaming it, right? Like Mastodon can communicate with anything that's on that protocol, which is Threads, Instagram. I forget what all's on in the Fediverse. As that's why I put Ninja's comment up there. But it could still be gamed by Mastodon. Hi, Franklin. Hello. Mastodon could. It doesn't defeat the algorithm of Threads. And if you've been on Threads, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I liked something on Threads that was from a photographer, and then my entire feed was photographers. It would be 2 months ago, some photographer posted something, and that was on my feed. And I'm like, okay, like, I mean, I like photos and photographers, but this is not what I'm looking for, Threads. And of course, political content and outside links. That's another thing, is links on Bluesky aren't throttled. If people don't want to share your link, they just don't share your link. Franklin, stop. I will tell you, over the last couple of days, I've gotten probably 10 subscribers to the YouTube channel and probably about as many followers on Twitch, just because my stuff was on Bluesky. I don't know that I've gotten any in the past year off of Twitter. And I had 20,000 Twitter followers. And I'm not shitting on the followers on Twitter. It's because Twitter would deboost them in the algorithm, so no one ever saw when I was live and I said, hey, I'm live on YouTube. They just wouldn't offer it. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hello. I don't know why you're freaking out. Having those trappings gone, not just for me. I've seen journalists talk about it. I've seen scientists talk about, like, oh, I can share my papers. I can share links to the papers that I wrote, and they're not going to get deboosted. I've seen authors say, I can share a link to my book, and it's not going to get deboosted. People are actually seeing my book. I saw someone earlier. She's like, somebody bought a copy of my book today. And that's never happened before on social media, and that's because traditional social media deboosted it, swept it out of the algorithm. Because if you're off their website, then
They don't make any money.
they can't make money off your eyes looking at ads. If you want, and there would be in the like the promotion language. If you ever read it, it's kind of passive aggressive. They'll be like, just remember that the best way to promote your business, your service, is to use our advertising boost, whatever, pay $30 a day, because that's how they make money. And with okay, stop slobbering all over my leg. He's literally drooling on my leg because he wants pets, and it's like, all right, hi, buddy. I mean, I love you too, but I don't want to be drooled on. Um, so traditional social media, needs that revenue. And listen, I am sure at some point we know that they're going to do some paid services because they already said that. Again, it's in the Discord and I posted on Bluesky. I'm gonna show you the thing in a little bit. But so there are some paid services coming to Bluesky, which we'll talk about. So they're gonna have to make money at some point. We're looking at right now at about 15 million users, which is not really that many for a social media program or social media network. Facebook has 2 billion or something. I mean, 15 million is nothing, but it's a start. And I think right now they're doing enough right, especially with the UI and the user interface, that the growth is not going to stop. Did you ever use Dig? No? Okay. Dig was a news aggregation site. I used to love me some Dig. And in like 2010, probably, they changed the UI in ways that us users felt insulted by, because where it used to be I could like read some news and like read what was going on, there were just ads in my face. And then I would scroll down and try to look at the other thing, and then there was another ad. And it was so bad that the reason that Reddit exploded was because Dig screwed themselves. Dig absolutely destroyed their user interface and made it so that it was basically unusable. And the other thing about Bluesky is because of this decentralization, and this would apply to Mastodon too, is that it will be much harder for them to screw all of that up, because somebody could just write an app and be like, oh, well, like Blue.deck, I'm sorry, not Blue.deck, Deck.blue, my bad. Deck.blue, like I'm not using the Bluesky interface, I'm using the Deck.blue interface. And in fact, it sucks because I can't do DMs on Deck.blue because it doesn't do DMs yet. I have to actually go to Bluesky to DM. It's not a big deal, but it's just, it sucks that they don't have it yet. They will. It's on the path. But it makes it harder when you have these open AIs to give users an experience that they hate. But the reason you close down your APIs is because you have to give them that experience, because you have to serve them ads.
Because ads are the only way you make money.
Hey, listen, April, I don't need you conspiring with Franklin to drool on my leg. For him, not you. I know that you are not drooling on my leg. That was worded badly. I just want to say absolutely 100% April Diamond has never drooled on my leg, never tried to drool on my leg. Franklin, in fact, probably the only person, he's a person, legally. He can sign contracts and everything. It's weird with his paws. It's strange. But who can drool on my leg, in fact. It's a group of one. It's a group of one.
I have no idea what's going on. Like here, my camera looks fine. Like here, but looking at the stream, it is just. And I've tried everything I can think of to fix
Oh,
it.
you know what? It might be. Um,
But I didn't
you
want to
know what?
interrupt you while you were going
No, you
on
know what? I know
your little
exactly what
rant.
it is. It's because you are uploading your video as it's being recorded.
I don't know why it would be. I didn't ask it to.
No, you didn't. And I don't think I can change that while we're live.
Huh. That, well, at
But
least I
that's what's
have an
going on.
answer. Like, I've been trying to, like, tweak camera settings and, like, it's like, it looks perfectly fine in the studio.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's because it's not your camera, it's your internet.
That explains it.
Yeah, your internet's being maxed because it's you're uploading as it's being recorded,
I just
and
don't
I
understand
can't
why it
turn
would
it
be
off while we're live.
uploading.
Yeah, but the nice
That's
thing
weird.
is the recording will be great. So like when we take clips of this and post them,
Well,
you'll
that's
look
good to know.
phenomenal. It's just on the live stream where you'll look a little grainy, and I'll fix it for next time. Next time,
Well,
we're using
then,
brand new software we've never used before, so
yeah, it's the first time.
first time it won't happen again.
But that, is incentive to actually check out the clips and, if
Hey,
you're here for the live stream, you can still check out the clips.
exactly, exactly. Porpoise, since you requested, I'll do it right now. There are no election conspiracies. He's back. Hi, buddy. There's no guys. Okay, this is all we're gonna say on this because there's a reason we haven't talked about it. You haven't seen me any videos on it because it's completely and totally ludicrous. If there was any evidence at all that was substantial and could be substantiated, do you honestly think that Vice President Harris and her entire organization and team wouldn't be in court constantly? It doesn't exist. I'm not turning this into 2020, like the blue version of 2020. Guys, I wanted her to have won too. She didn't. The election was safe, it was legitimate, and it was fair. And it's unfortunate that Trump won, but he won. And he will be the president elect in a couple of weeks. And it breaks my heart, but that's just how it is. And we're not entertaining any conspiracies. There's no conspiracies.
Yeah,
Um,
no. I mean, it's understandable for like when you're going through the phases of grief to have that
sure.
denial like in the very beginning. Even I was like something doesn't feel right. But as more data came in, as more numbers came in and you realize just how much people shifted, it very much is just a replay of 2004. I mean, Kamala versus Trump is basically Bush v. Kerry.
Basically.
The Democrat ran to the right and did not actually truly have good messaging to address the issues of the everyday man. Add to that the fact that the media completely shit the bed and failed us this time around because they have a financial incentive to, at the very least, not hinder, if not outright help, Trump get
Right.
elected. Because every single morning when he was president, we were all like Picard grabbing the arms of the captain's chair, like damage report,
Right.
That was every day for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that got a lot of eyeballs on screens. That got them top dollar for ads.
Sure.
And when Biden was elected, most of the people that were actually tuned in trying to see the chaos happening every single day were like, okay, like it's normal. Like we can breathe. Like we can give our central nervous systems a break. And unfortunately, when you have a financial incentive in the mainstream media, that is not conducive to democracy. And like the
Right.
whole reason they're supposed to, the whole reason they have First Amendment protections is because they're supposed to speak truth to power. They should have been talking about the tariffs before the election. They didn't post articles about it really until after the election.
Yeah.
They should have been actually talking about policy, like Kamala's policies and how they would be good for, the middle and working classes and how Trump's would tank the economy. But
Yep.
they didn't. Again, it's all down to their financial incentive. Add to that the Democrats just being shit on messaging and running to the right with a war criminal, and getting the Cheney endorsement as opposed to, playing to the base, which, like, that's the number one rule in politics is play to your base. And they
Yeah.
ignored They
Well,
ignored the people on the left.
you
So like
know,
they shit the bed, and that's it. That's what happened. They shit the
the
bed, and
traditional
people
model,
didn't come out
and
to
I
vote.
don't, I'm not before anybody gets mad at me, I'm not defending. Okay, I'm explaining. The traditional model was in the primaries, you're as close to your base as you can get, and then as the general election gets closer, you move more and more to the center to try to pull those couple 10,000, 100,000 votes from the other candidate. The problem is that it backfired for a couple of reasons. Again, I want to stay very centered on Bluesky, so I don't want to get too deep into this tonight. We already did a post-mortem last Wednesday. We can do another one if this
With
seems to
more
be a topic.
info, it might be a good idea,
Yeah,
especially if
yeah. I
people
don't want to
keep
split the stream into
bouncing.
two different
Absolutely.
topics. That's all. Um, we had a couple of things going on where, unfortunately, they were able to frame her as the incumbent, and there was a lot of economic anxiety, and of course, all of the culture and virtue signaling that the right did. Again, totally different stream, totally off topic. I mean, somewhat off topic. We talk about, this is a little bit framed as politics, but um, yeah, and it's just unfortunate that now people are like, oh, well, it had to have been a conspiracy. No, it wasn't. There's no conspiracy. It's the campaign made decisions that they shouldn't have made, and not Kamala. Want to be clear. I'm not blaming her. I'm blaming the people that I'm blaming, like Bill Kristol and like James Carville, people like that.
One other thing, there seemed to be a lot of split votes as well, where they voted down ballot for the Democrats, but either did not vote for the presidential contest or some even voted for Trump, you know? So
Yeah.
that also is why there were so many fewer votes. There were still a lot of voters, but they either left the presidential blank or they crossed party for it.
Porpoise perfectly said. Porpoise says it's amazing how many people don't understand air gapping. Yeah. Um, before anyone uses methylene, what are you chewing on? Oh, okay. He's chewing on his toy. Okay, it's fine. Um, yes, that's what I said. I'm not using any math a lot. We don't use math and logic around here. That's what we've got you for, Porpoise. Anyway, back to the topic. I want to read this out. It's somewhere. I've got to find it. Okay. So, and I put this on the Discord and I posted on Bluesky, but I want to talk about this for a second. This is also from last month's blog. Bluesky does plan to have paid subscriptions at some point. They don't know when, but the ability for people to pay for subscriptions. One of the things that annoys me about Bluesky right now as a content creator is the longest video I can upload is 1 minute. Which, I mean, I can make 1 minute videos. I have made 1 minute videos, but most of my videos run 2 to 5, except for these live streams, of course.
I mean, even TikTok allows 3 minutes before you get, have been on for the platform for a little
Right.
while, where you then get 10-minute or
Right.
longer uploads.
So one of the things they're saying is, well, if you paid, you could upload longer videos. Which, me as a content creator, I would pay $5-8 a month for that. I mean, I don't know that I would pay like $20 a month for that. I don't know. Another thing that they're saying is like profile customizations, like maybe some avatar frames, or maybe different colors on your banner, or maybe some like colored text, like some more advanced like text features, that sort of stuff, which would be cool. They
Basically
say Blue
turning it
Sky will
into
always be
MySpace.
sure, absolutely. Notably, one thing they didn't list was longer messages. They didn't. It's nothing about like 300 characters is the limit for a post, and they didn't say anything. I mean, I imagine that that's something that they're considering, but they didn't mention it in the post, and I think that's notable. That may be one of those red lines that they're just no. That posts are going to be 300 words. Also, didn't mention editing. Said nothing about editing, so I don't know. Is that on the roadmap? I don't know. But they did say Bluesky will always be free to use. We believe that information and conversation should be easily accessible, not locked down. So it's not something where they're going to say you've got to pay to use it, like Vimeo. Like Vimeo, you got to pay to upload. And then in a separate sentence all by itself, so you know this was important. We won't uprank accounts simply because they're subscribing to a paid tier. So they're not going to do the Elon thing where like, oh, you'll get prominence in the timeline if you pay.
I mean that's essentially how, you know, one of the ways that the algorithm gets weighted over on shitter. And
Right.
like, let's be real. Elon floated it, and he, if he thought that he could actually, you know, not lose pretty much most of the people on the platform, he absolutely would, you know, make it, you have to pay in order to be on the platform. He's already done everything he can to incentivize it by, you know, people have been asking for edits for the longest time. He made that a paid thing. Featuring higher in the replies, that's a paid thing. You know, so many things that would be great quality of life things if you really wanted this to be the new public square. He's made, you know, paywalled essentially, and it's
Right.
because he wants to get as many people paying that $8 or whatever it is a month,
Yep.
and even making things less safe. You know, the fact that you can just pay a fee and be able to DM somebody without like them being able to stop it from happening, that is awful. And like, don't even get me started on him getting rid of the block feature. Like, that's just downright dangerous, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I I remember I want to say it was Fiona in the Discord. I believe Fiona in the Discord said, um, you know, what's the content moderation like? And that's a big thing for them is safety and content moderation. One of the things they listed in last month's blog was how heavily they've invested in anti-harassment tooling and trust and safety. That's really, really, really important to this team, and it's one of the things that one of the reasons why I really want to support Bluesky. So I want to share this. This is from the blog post. I hope you can read that. But this second paragraph here, I just want to read the whole thing. Additionally, we're proud of our vibrant community of creators, including artists, writers, developers, and more, and we want to establish a voluntary monetization path for them as well. Part of our plan includes building payment services for people to support their favorite creators and projects. We'll share more information as this develops. You know, on Twitter, I applied, they told me that I was qualified for subscriptions 3 years ago. It was before Elon took over. It's still pending. It was in pending before Elon took over. And I've messaged the premium guys and like, why is it still in pending? Like, am I denied? Like, well, you know, we've got to look your account over. And it's like, it's been 3 years. 3 years since you told me that I was approved. You emailed me and said you're approved. Fill out this form so we can do subscription. And like I had to pick what people, I think it was $2.99 or something to do paid subscriptions. Like it's just mind blowing to me. And from the way I'm reading it, they're not saying, well, there's going to be a, hi Tanwin, good to see you. Good to see you. There's not going to be a, there's not like qualification. It's not like, oh, well, you've got to have 100,000 followers and you've got to have all this engagement. Like, no, if you can just, you can just turn it on. And if people want to subscribe to you and support you, they just can. And as a creator, that's important to me. Not necessarily because, I mean, I would love to make a living off of this, don't get me wrong, but not necessarily just that. It's because when people do choose to support you, even if it's $1 or something, it just means so much. Like someone likes my content so much that they're willing to give to me out of their own pocket, even if it's $1, a couple of bucks. It's just very, very important to me. Speaking of which, I want to, hold on, I gotta hit it the right way. I want to share this. Thanks to my amazing supporters, Angerat, Azriel, Mysterious, and Holy Spackle, who support me. Since we're talking about that, a little segue there.
Very smooth. Perfect plug.
Yeah, and you can support me on coffee.com/ProLib. Franklin, he's freaking out over here for pets. Jeez. Um, all right, getting back to chat. Andreas says, I see more parallels with 2016 Clinton Trump. Well, I wouldn't narrow it down to one single reason. Many didn't want to vote for a woman. Yeah, that's going to be part of it. Again, I think we're going to do a whole separate stream on that because I want to keep this real centralized on Bluesky. But Andreas, partially, I do think that they're a large part of that. Again, different topic. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Enter says, I wouldn't watch longer than 3-minute videos on a social media site that's meant to be scrolled through. I agree. My problem with the 1-minute video thing is, as somebody that makes content, by the time like I say something and make my point and justify it and show you like, oh, here's this clip or here's this article that I'm talking about, whatever, it just usually comes out to between 2.5 and 5 minutes. Like that's just what it usually comes out to. Even when I'm doing my best to like keep it simple, it's just how long it usually takes. And so 1-minute videos is just really, really restrictive. So that's one thing that I'm excited about. Like most of my videos that are on TikTok and YouTube these days are 2.5 to 5 minutes. This just how long it takes me to put a point together, I guess. And so just being able to also upload them to Bluesky would just be nice. And I'd pay for that.
Yeah, that's one thing that's a little bit frustrating with Instagram. Like, if you want to share your TikToks to Instagram, you have to essentially just cut out a 60-second chunk of it. I think 60 seconds is the max, which is like, okay, I understand if you don't want to allow an hour-long video or even like a 10-minute video, but I would think that like three minutes should be doable,
Yeah, 3 minutes.
or
I think 3 minutes
3 to
is...
5 minutes should be doable but no, they make you cut it down to a minute-ish, I believe.
It's just,
which is frustrating.
It's frustrating because you just don't really get to expand the way you want to. Hey, Heather, I'm not sure which take you mean. So if you could just expand on that, like we'll totally respond to it. I'm just not sure which take you mean.
If I had to guess, it was the voting for a woman comment.
Possibly. And if that's what I'm just curious, like which one was simple? Brevity being the soul of wit. No, I know. Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about this for a second. Because that's not the full line. Okay. First of all, the full line is brevity being the soul of wit. I will be brief is the full line. And then he goes on a 2.5-page monologue because he's the most long-winded, pontificating motherfucker in like all of Shakespeare. That line is the biggest fucking joke that Shakespeare ever wrote. Brevity being the soul of wit. I will be brief. And then he just does. He's like me. He's worse than me. He just keeps going and going. And you're like, why won't this man stop?
It is amazing how much we shorten things, and how it can just change the meaning in general when you shorten a quote. But I don't know. I will say I do kind of hope they do extended messages. Like, I mean, I guess you have the option on Bluesky of I believe you can do like multiple posts at once.
Yeah, you can do a thread.
Like a thread.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be able to up the character limit, a bit, because not everybody's going to want to go through the entire thread, and not everybody is, going to engage with that, or they might see just one part of it and then they don't actually pay attention to the rest of it because they just see the one snippet instead of the full like context.
Right.
So that is one thing I will hope that they will do. Also, group DMs. I am hoping for group DMs.
Group DMs is a big one. And what we really want is an alternative to Spaces, which with the Atmosphere protocol, somebody could just build it. Somebody built one already. It was called Sky Spaces, and then they abandoned it. So it's totally possible because somebody built it already. It's just they abandoned the project for whatever reason. That's true. Andrew makes a good point. If you didn't have a lot to say, it wouldn't be a very good content creator. I mean, that's fair. I also don't want to bore anyone, which I'm afraid I do. Probably more often than I do, but I overthink everything. I'm always like, oh God, I'm boring. I need to shut up.
You're not
Um,
boring.
no one's gonna get that joke. No, no one's gonna like. I get the joke. That's a funny joke, but no one's gonna get that joke. I should bite my thumb at you. Did you bite your thumb at me, sir? No, I bit my thumb. Okay. Anyway, I love that scene. When it's played right, I love that scene. I was just biting my thumb. I don't. But did you bite your thumb at me, sir? Anyway. Okay. All right. All right. And if you're in different folios, the wording is different. Okay. I'm using the more modern folio wording. I know. I know. Before anybody ats me, no one even knows what the fuck I'm talking about. I need to just stop now. No one had like folios. What is this? Anyway, people really like Bluesky. A little reminder for those of you who are new, we have a new feature where you can call into the show. There's a link in the description. All you do is click on that link. We tried it earlier. It did work. And it's kind of like entering a Zoom chat. It'll like say, okay, well, what name do you want to go by? You can show your camera or just speak. You can just do audio too. We would like this to be the alternative to Spaces for now. It's about as close as we can get without, going back to Twitter and using Spaces. And the other thing about Twitter is starting on the 14th, that everything that you post will be uploaded to Grok server to teach Grok. And that's just how it is now. And you're teaching Elon's AI how to communicate every time you post. M says, we haven't met, but I love your work. What do we do about hooded eyelashes? A major problem. That is a major problem. I'm so glad. Actually, Kitty, it's funny you bring that up. It's funny you actually bring that up.
No, so Mo is a friend of mine, and we once had this long conversation about like hooded eyelids. So now, whenever he sees me on a thing, he has to bring up the hooded eyelids thing, like to let me know that he's there. He's a sweetheart, though.
Hi,
Like,
Mo.
love him.
Um, here's my take. Here's my take on hooded eyelashes. Banned. Immediately deported to Croatia, which is a very nice place. I'd love to be deported to Croatia. I don't know if you ever seen pictures or anything of Croatia. It's gorgeous there. Beautiful, beautiful country. Please deport me to Croatia if I need to go. Jake says, I thought you weren't coming back this time. Jake, how dare you? I didn't say that. Yes, I did. Listen, Kitty came to my house with a pitchfork. This is a true story. I'm gonna spill
Oh,
the
what
beans.
I
She came to
do?
my house. Excuse me, I'm talking. Kitty came to my house with a pitchfork one night, which I took to be a threat. But she had just finished, I guess, baling hay. I don't know. You use a pitchfork for that. I'm completely unfamiliar. So it was intimidating to like open the door and she was standing there with a pitchfork, but she had come from work. And so it was just unrelated, but it freaked me out. Anyway, and my first thing was, oh my God, a pitchfork. And she's like, I just had it in my hand and forgot. But she laid it aside. And she said to me, she said, Ethan, though I know that's not your real name, which is a weird way of speaking, and it kind of caught me off guard. I was still shocked too about the pitchfork. But she said, Ethan, though that not be your real name, I was thinking about waffles. And I said, Kitty, that's so weird because I just bought a waffle maker. And she said, I know, I smelled them. I was outside baling hay and I smelled them and they were on my mind. They had already been on my mind, but then I smelled the waffles and I was wondering if I could have one. And I said, sure, I made extra just in case. And so we had some waffles, understandably. That's probably the most logical place for that story with that opening to go. But then after the Yes, Andrew. She is a wheat thresher. That's true. After the waffles, she said, "Do you come here often?" And I was like, "Well, I live here." And she's like, "All right, that's probably not the opener that I wanted to have." And I said, "No, I mean, you already started with the pitchfork, so it was a weird step at the beginning, and now you're coming with this. I just don't know what's going on." And then she said, she said, and it was kind of an intonation you wouldn't expect, but she said, "Do you have any Tylenol?" And but she didn't say that. She was like, "Do you have any Tylenol?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I do, but had you asked anyone else?" And she said, "Well, not directly, but like in my head, I'd seen myself asking other people if they did, and all of them told me no, but you were just the first person I'd actually talked to, and so it was the first time the question actually came out of my mouth, and so then I had that weird intonation on it, and I was like, we're really just starting things out weird today." And she's like, "We are, aren't we? But do you have some?" And I said, "Yeah." So I got her the Tylenol, and then she was like, "Oh shit, I can't take this because of my prescriptions." And I was like, "Well, why did you ask about Tylenol then?" And she's like, I'm not sure. I'm very tired. The waffles." And I was like, "Oh, sure." And then she was like, "Well, do you think that you should come back and do more social media?" And I was like, "That's a really good idea." And she's like, "All right, well, I'll see you later." I don't know. That's how it happened. You know, that's the whole story. So there you go. And she'll deny it, of course, because she's embarrassed about the pitchfork. But that's the story.
Oh no,
That's
I would absolutely own showing up and rolling up someone's house with a pitchfork. I mean, I am not ashamed of my weapons, but I mean, honestly, like I have known your real name for years now, so
right.
like I wouldn't have said Ethan. Like that's the unbelievable thing. Like
You were
even
very
the Ethan, I
tired,
know
and you
it's
wanted
not your
some waffles.
name.
You were distracted. It's totally understandable.
I mean, at least you remember that I prefer waffles to pancakes, so there's that at least.
Mo, this is kind of how our shows end. You're new here. Jake said, "I did change it when the stream started and reset the app, but it wouldn't update here." Huh. Weird. I don't know. April made this face. I think she's crying for some reason. I'm sorry. Was it the pitchfork? Yeah.
I mean, I was wheezing,
I
like
mean, I was
full on
scared
tea
too.
kettling over here,
Sure.
so
I mean, it was terrified me.
don't make me
Terrified me.
bust
Missed you too,
out
Jake.
the gremlin shoer.
The Gremlin Chewer?
Sure. The the
Yeah.
because I said it's for dealing with the tick gremlins. And
April
then I
said
drop
this
it.
is why you fail at 1 minute videos.
Yes. Yes.
You're correct.
Because even when he's improving something that did not happen,
Totally happened.
like it just random just little tidbits
It's
of
absolutely the
information, he
truth.
just has to over elaborate. And that's how you can tell when he's not actually telling the truth, is
No.
because he's one of those over
No.
elaborators.
How Tell me one thing about that story that's implausible.
Me showing up to your house with a pitchfork.
Oh, you were baling hay.
I would not bale hay. My crippled ass is not gonna do that. Mm-mm.
It was before that.
I've been disabled since I was 19. And that's not happening.
You had one of your good days.
Even on a good day, I'm not gonna waste it doing that.
I don't know. I don't know why no one believes this story. This is weird. Yeah, I know. It's good to see you, bud. Oh yes, I forgot about this. I didn't even tell Kitty yet. I'll be on in time tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Something like that, Eastern. So, if you've ever heard of them, they're a YouTube channel
I've heard of them.
that exists. They're a
Yes.
YouTube channel that exists, and they're gonna have me on. So that's top notch quality entertainment for you. And we'll be talking mostly about pitchforks, actually. That's the other reason I wanted to bring that up. We're having an entire show. Nick's going to deny it because it's a surprise, but that's literally the topic of the show tomorrow night is pitchforks and their sharpness. How to sharpen your pitchfork. When is it time to replace your pitchfork? The process of forging pitchforks, which is very interesting. I won't get into it now because I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, that's going to be the... And, you know, here's... going into the show, here's a question I want you to have in your head. If you were making a pitchfork today, you who's watching today, white oak or birch? You'll find out tomorrow night. You will find out tomorrow night. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, you can also join the Discord. The link's in the thing. See, thank you in time. Independent news agrees with me. I always tell the truth. 100% of the time. 100% of the time. I would even venture to say 110% of the time. Porpoise, don't. 110% is a real number. Not imaginary. Just, it exists. It's in the Bible. Maybe you should read it. But that's true. God created 110% of a 10 commandments.
Huh.
And that's why we do a lot of math here, because the maths.
No, the math's not math.
Titan finally admits it, that he is a blabbermouth, so we did finally get that out of him. Congratulations, everyone. Mission accomplished. Porpoise asks, a different YouTube channel on my stream. You're asking them a question. That's nice. Can you explain air gapping to TikTokers like they're teenagers who don't understand technology? Porpoise, you can, but they won't watch those videos. They're watching police fall down stairs and Christmas trees and stuff. Zoomers aren't gonna watch anything. They're like, air gapping. Is that the new version of Netflix and chill? And you'd be like, well, in a weird kind of way. Anyway, April, I think, is having trouble with her keyboard. I don't know what that means, April. Aunt Jer says, I'd rather talk about waffles because I'm a fatty. And that's probably my favorite comment that I've ever gotten on a stream. Porpoise, we're not doing this. Okay? We're not having this conversation. I didn't say 110% isn't a real number. Percentages can be over 100. Probabilities can't be. That's incorrect. That's actually the opposite is true, especially in quantum theory, because a probability is exponential as soon as it's observed, which is what Einstein said in the Yamaka, which was the book he wrote. So there you go. Don't thank Titan for things. He gets that.
I think you might have spent too much time on Shitter, like with the amount of just like disinformation nonsense coming out of your mouth right about now.
And Porpoise finally gets on topic. Waffles are good. Listen, guys. We've had a great conversation tonight. It was mostly about waffles, which is what we meant to talk about, of course. And that's really the... You know, I want to brag for a second. You came here to a ProLib stream to memorialize Twitter, and it was mostly about waffles and pitchforks. And I think that's the kind of quality citizen journalism you can expect from a stream such as ours that is so heavily rebooted. No, what's that word? Researched, heavily researched, and heavily, smart. We're heavily smart. I'm heavily smart. Kitty's heavily smart. She's the heaviest smart. And together, this is the place to come for waffles. Not that we're giving you waffles, but I mean to, discuss them. So, I want to thank me most of all. Sorry, allergies. I want to thank me most of all for my performance tonight. It was top notch. It was really great. And just how interesting I was. That was extremely interesting. Um, oh yes, yes, Titan. Thank you for discording me. Um, yes, I'd forgotten about that. I'm very sorry, Jade. I apologize. I totally forgot about that. My supreme apologies. Love you. But besides that, I was great tonight. I was wonderful. And I think everything that I said was not only smart, but also prescient. Prescient. Yeah.
Are you
Kitty,
sure about that?
give me
Like,
your
are you
final
sure
thoughts.
about that?
Yeah.
Are you sure
Omnipotent.
about that?
Omnipotent almost.
Trust me, if I ascended to godhood, everybody would know it. But no, it was fun. It was definitely fun. And it's always adorable watching you completely like geek out uh, over something and getting into the nitty gritty of, well, I mean, it was still pretty like layman accessible, but you did get into a lot more of the details on just the background of Blue Sky and how it works than, a lot of people I've seen talking online. So awesome. And thank you for that lesson and for being your adorable goofball self.
Thanks. Follow Kitty on Blue Sky at kittyatheist.bsky.social. If you follow me, ProLib Show at bsky.social. I'll be on In Time tomorrow night, I think at 8 p.m. Something like that. We're going to talk about election stuff. We're going to talk about some other stuff too. Cabinet appointments and whatnot. But yeah. Kitty, are you anywhere? Are you doing anything?
Um, Tomorrow night? No, I'm not doing anything.
I mean,
I'm
the
going to
rest of
be
the week. Like, are you
relaxing.
doing
Oh,
any?
no. I'm like I've got to deal with some personal stuff like tomorrow and relaxing, and I might make a couple of TikToks this week if I can be fucked to find the spoons for it. Like I'm still
Right.
drained from last week.
I didn't mean to turn the music off. The music was supposed to play us out next. I turned it on. It's
It's fine.
fine. Hi Vic. You are late, but you did make it. But we're about to go. We're gonna go. But we love you, Vic. We love all you guys. Love all you guys. And we may stream later this week. We're not sure yet, but at the very least, you get us next Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's when the podcast happens. And we want to thank you guys for watching, and we will see you all. We'll see you all next time. Good night, everybody.